Hello, I am Andrea Thomas, and today I have the pleasure to introduce you to my newest movie, The Open Boat. It is based on a short story written by Stephen Crane. This widely known poet, novelist, and short story author was inspired by his own experience when his boat sank off the coast and he was left adrift for 4 days. The movie tells the story of four men who find themselves in a small vessel propelled by oars after their boat sinks off near the coast of Florida. The protagonist, the captain, who is injured, the correspondent, and the cook and the oiler, who take turns rowing their boat, have an ultimate goal: to survive to the wild sea and to get ashore safely. Despite their efforts, the sea is wild and threatens their life with each wave. As we can see, it is clearly a man versus nature conflict. The four protagonists struggle to survive and are definitely dependent on the climatic conditions. The setting of this story is the antagonist of the protagonists. We can better understand the setting and conflict with these short quotes. None of them knew the color of the sky. Their eyes glanced level and were fastened upon the waves that swept towards them. The horizon narrowed and widened, and dipped and rose, and at all times its edge was jagged with waves that seemed thrust up in points like rocks. A singular disadvantage of the sea lies in the fact that after successfully surmounting one wave, you discover that there is another behind it just as important and just as nervously anxious to do something effective in the way of swamping boats. Their first chance to find land, and therefore one of the first rising actions, happens when the cook claims that there is a house of refuge near them, in the Mosquito Islet. Unluckily, it is abandoned and nobody is able to help them. After this disappointing situation, the men have deep thoughts about fate and destiny, which prepare ourselves for the upcoming event. A verse he had heard years ago enters the head of the cook, and he finally understands its meaning. At the same time, the crew thinks about the option of losing their lives to the savage sea. These quotes show the moments of tension that the protagonists feel during this part of the story. If I am going to be drowned, if I am going to be drowned, why, in the name of the seven mad gods who rule the sea, was I allowed to come thus far and contemplate sand and trees? Was I brought here merely to have my nose dragged away as I was about to nibble the sacred cheese of life? The whole affair is absurd. But no, she cannot mean to drown me. She dare not drown me. She cannot drown me. Not after all this work. The story becomes more and more interesting when the climax finally takes place. The small boat starts to swamp, and the men realize that it will sink and they will die if they don't do anything about it. It is in this moment when the four protagonists have to make the most important decision, the one that will decide the direction of the story. Just when the vessel is about to crash because of the strength and brutality of the sea, the crew jumps off the boat and dives into the sea. "Now, boys," said the captain, "she's going to swamp sure. All we can do is to work her in as far as possible, and then when she swamps, pile out and scramble for the beach. Keep it cool now and don't jump until she swamps." "Now, boys, the next one will do for us, sure," said the oiler. "Mind to jump clear of the boat." Once they have dived into the sea, it is time for the protagonists to use all their energy to swim and get ashore. All of them try their best to be strong and resist, because they know that this is the last step before saving their lives. During their effort to fight the sea, the men find some difficulties, such as a current, but they manage to stay afloat using parts of the capsized vessel. Sadly, at the end, one of the protagonists dies, but the rest are able to get ashore alive and they find help. If you truly want to discover the resolution to this movie, you'll have to see it and you will find out. The coldness of the water was sad. It was tragic. This fact was somehow mixed and confused with his opinion of his own situation, that it seemed almost a proper reason for tears. The water was cold. The correspondent remained in the grip of this strange new enemy, a current. The shore, with its wide slope of sand and its green bluff topped with little silent cottages, was spread like a picture before him. Thank you for your attention, and I hope this movie has captivated you as much as it has to many other people, including me.